What's up, YouTube? It's your boy AP. It's been a while since I made a YouTube video, but I'm back, I'm feeling refreshed, and we've got some things to talk about for patch 3.27. This video is going to be pretty quick, mostly just yapping about my league start plans and what you can expect from me leading up to the Halloween launch. I'm going to be focused on the Ranger class today because, first of all, that's what I'm starting, and I also believe there is just so much potential in terms of powerful reroll options on this class. So you'll be able to have a fun, exciting, and very strong second build without having to level again. So the league starter is going to be Pconc of Bouncing on Pathfinder. No surprise there. It was super powerful last league. And even though people are worried about a nerf, I honestly don't even really see it. Early game campaign damage will be a little bit less, but the skill has never struggled with early campaign damage. This may affect a top tier racer's decision on their league start, but it really shouldn't affect you or me. And this damage loss from the early game is gained back through the value of our life flask, which means in the late game, when you have a divine life flask with a decent prefix, your damage will largely be the same. This is a big nerf to Ascendancies that can't maintain the life flask, but as a Pathfinder, you should have zero concerns here. And the buff we got is actually pretty big. We got a new rune graph that gives an additional chain. And the way our skill scales is off chaining. It converts projectiles into chains, so we're basically getting more of our best damage multiplier. I'll have a fully updated video and POB for Pconc of Bouncing as a league starter coming soon, so stay tuned for that. And if you're impatient, you can always check out the video from 3.26 because that is already a very solid guide. Now next up, Viper Strike of the Mamba. Shockingly, this was not nerfed. This skill is an absolute monster. It does everything well. While it's not the cheapest build to gear, it's way more affordable than other setups with similar power. Now, Pconc of Bouncing is really strong on low budgets, and I wouldn't invest too much into it. It's just really good for getting you started. You're basically guaranteed to be able to do all the stuff you'd want to do in week one, and then you can start saving up for a second build on Ranger. So for me, I will likely switch to Mamba on Pathfinder. I felt for 2 leagues now that Viper Strike of the Mamba was right on the edge of going super mainstream. You've probably seen DS Lily, Mathel, Ziggy D, Jungroan, Rutu, and myself putting out guides for this in the past over the past couple of leagues. And I think this might finally be the league where the skill blows up. And to be honest, it might even get nerfed next patch. It's just that good. Like borderline stupid good for poison, where it makes all other poison builds seem irrelevant. This is definitely something I'll be swapping to probably after week 1. And I will have a standalone video on Mamba after the Pconc guide, possibly before launch, but it might be a better idea to wait until we see all the new uniques and bloodline ascendancies, because then we could release a video as I'm swapping, probably at the end of week 1, as I said, and I'd be able to price things out based on the real economy. There are several ways to make a very powerful Mamba character, and we're likely going to want to choose the route that makes the most sense value proposition-wise early on in the league. And some of the questions right now are, is Defiance of Destiny going to be an attainable item? As well as, is Whispers of Infinity going to be relegated to a Chase Uber boss drop or not? But there's already a ton of content for both Pconc and Mamba on my channel, since we've played these both very extensively. So I'm going to be pinning a playlist in the top comment that aggregates all the important videos. So if you are thinking about starting these builds, I highly recommend watching some of those videos because they will cover the deep mechanics that are unchanged that you'll like to understand going into the league. Moving on, I want to give some love to my favorite skill, Spark. What are my thoughts on Poison Spark for 3.27? I've seen a lot of people talking about Assassin Poison Spark, and I think there is a solid build here. I even theorycraft a bit live on stream, but honestly, I'd still recommend using my 3.25 Pathfinder Poison Spark guides instead. And here's why. The main problem with Assassin is it's very front-loaded offensively without much in terms of defenses, which means you're going to have to buy your defenses with currency. And if I were to do an Assassin, I would also want to use the Forbidden Flame and Flesh combo, which would give us even more offense with unconditional 100% more crit chance, as well as 100% increased crit multi, which would enable the perfect Agony Keystone. And that might be pretty expensive. I would also want to buy a Mage Blood just to boost up the defenses. And this is not even half of it. That's just like 2 really niche things that I'd want to include in the build. Pathfinder, on the other hand, gets poison scaling super efficiently with the Eater of Worlds boots, which means that the assassin node that enables poison isn't even really that valuable, because this is the alternative, and the alternative is very good. So Pathfinder also has really good offense as well as defense. Since Pathfinder is flask-based, we can fully leverage the Tides of Time unique belt, which is arguably even stronger than a Mage Blood for defenses and much, much cheaper. And I say it's stronger because it scales Progenesis, which is absolutely insane, especially on a Pathfinder. Pathfinder is cheaper, tankier, and still pumps out that massive damage. And a little bonus, which is definitely worth mentioning, and this is relevant to Pconc, Viper Strike, as well as Poison Spark on the Pathfinder. Pathfinder can drop 2 Ascendancy points potentially for Bloodline Ascendancy points, which is a new mechanic in patch 3.27, which gives us the option to get completely different and potentially very powerful Ascendancy nodes. And so the 2 nodes that are up in the air would be, first of all, Nature's Boon, which gives us 30% increased magic flask effect. I do think this is a pretty weak node and probably worth replacing. First of all, it doesn't buff Progenesis, and it doesn't really do too much. So we're very likely going to find some sort of Bloodline Ascendancy that's going to be better than this. And another option would be Nature's Reprisal, which gives us Withered effect as well as Withered on hit. Now, this is a very strong node for Pathfinder. However, you can replace it by using a Balance of Terror Jewel. It gives us another button, but if there is a really powerful Bloodline Ascendancy node gated behind 4 points, it's definitely worth considering dropping Nature's Reprisal. So yeah, if you're into Poison Spark, I will also have a playlist with 3 key videos that will be pinned in the top comment below. And don't worry that they're 11-month old, because they are still completely valid and up to date. The only thing worth noting that we've had changed is we have a Betrayal Sting option. That is a ring that gives us a ton of damage, so you could sub that into the build if you'd like. Now, I've touched on 3 different Ranger classes, and these are stuff that I'm very extensively schooled in, and we have all the video guides on the channel. However, I do want to name drop a few more that you're not going to find on my channel, but are going to be very, very good options for swapping to out of the Pconc of Bouncing League start. So to name drop a few: Warden Kinetic Rain, Warden Kinetic Blast, Warden Frostblades, Deadeye Ellie Hit of the Spectrum. These are tons of blaster type stuff, and you're going to have fun on all of those if you don't have an interest in going Mamba or Poison Spark. I think we're going to wrap this before I start rambling. I'm really excited to be back, hyped for this league. We'll be doing a 24-hour stream on League Start, so I'd love to see you guys there. If this video helped your League Start plan, drop a like, sub if you haven't already, and look out for the next videos as they come out leading up to the 31st. All right, peace.